Wah wah wee wah. This is dope, bro. This is the first time I'm ever going live on YouTube. And it has been a little bit of a learning curve. How to figure some shit out because I am using a separate camera and I'm not much of a technology person, but through the power of watching a YouTube video and just following the steps. Look at us. Anything is possible. As a matter of fact, everything is possible. And not just that, everything already fucking exists right now, right here, in this moment. Because the past does not exist, nor does the future. The only thing that exists is right now. We will only have right now forever, and right now has all that has ever exists throughout time. This is fucking crazy, man. This is fucking crazy. So today I woke up and I was feeling very present from the very jump from getting out of bed when I took the of my body and I immediately looked at my legs and I noticed immediately how present I was. And I went to the bathroom and I just felt this presence as I walked through my house, looking at the walls and looking at the frame of the door. And I was so elated by this to get my day started on this foot. And I attribute this to meditating before I go to bed. I'll do this 70-minute Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation before bed called Space Time, Time Space. And I used to have the habit of smoking weed before I would go to bed, but I decided to just stop doing that. Not necessarily consciously, it wasn't like, "Oh, I gotta stop doing this." What happened was just through the meditations alone and noticing how I would feel in the morning, I'd become very present to how my body feels when I wake up. And when I would smoke weed before bed, I would wake up and it would take some time for my brain to boot up. And when I stopped smoking weed before bed and I would just meditate instead, when I would wake up, my brain would be sharp. It would still take some time to boot up, but that was okay because I was mentally clear. The last time I smoked weed before bed was 13 days ago. I went to go do a podcast with a friend of mine, and the night before I smoked weed, and the next day it took some time for me to just to boot up. It took a couple hours, as a matter of fact, for me to get into the groove of things. So I was really happy about that. So I want to be more intentional about not using my phone when I wake up in the morning and instead lying down in bed and journaling. And I have been pretty successful at that lately. And I was so present as I was writing, and I was able to really develop a massive sense of awareness about myself today. And the truth is, I have been saying yes to things that inside my soul says no to doing. for example, hanging out with certain people or giving certain people my time or even watching Instagram reels that people that I know are sending to me. And there is this social pressure for me to give these people my time and energy and attention because I want to be liked and accepted by these people. I want to connect with these people. But if I'm being honest, my soul is saying no. It's saying no. And I haven't been standing up for myself. And I have been feeling scared and terrified to stand up for myself. And if this is your first time tuning into my channel, I had wrote a book. I'm a published author to this book right here. The Real Nigga Bible for All Races by Marcius Jupiter. And in 6 days, I am going to host the first ever Real Nigga Church service. And I am so fucking excited about this. And at the same time, there has been a great deal of fear because it's going to be 2 hours, it's going to be in person, and my mind is going, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to talk about? Meanwhile, deep within the depths of my soul, there's a immovable certainty that says improvise. And that's so scary. Initially it was scary. These days I feel a lot more excited about it, and I'll tell you why. I just kept getting this feeling from the universe just saying, just improvise, you're going to be okay. And this last week I got invited to this business mixer with a friend of mine. And we went, and it was a small group of people. It was about 10 people in the room. And I sat down and I wanted to bring my best energy, as I always do, or at least as I always have the intention to do. So I introduced myself to the people who were in my proximity. And early on, I was able to tell pretty much right away, probably from the first 10 to 15 seconds of being there was a disconnect between me and the energy of the room right away. And I was going against my soul, maybe feeling like, okay, I'm always trying to rationalize, like, okay, maybe I just need to settle into this environment. But my soul knew right away that this environment wasn't for me. So I stayed during the entire meeting, and I was right, or it was right. It was not for me. I'm a, I'm a very spiritual person. I am not much of a strategic person. I don't consider myself an entrepreneur, although I am entrepreneurial. I consider myself more of an artist. And this room was a lot more technical business, or maybe 10, 15, 20 years older than me, which is fine. I've been in those rooms before, but it didn't really seem very energy and quantum focused. So on the way back home, I'm talking to the person that I went to the event with, and she's telling me how she also didn't connect with the vibe of the room. And she said it was because we also did not feel welcomed. It felt like they put their focus, energy, and attention to the people who were members, whereas the guests who were in the room were treated more as if you are a fly on the wall and you are observing how we do things here, which is okay. That's how they do things. I didn't feel brought into the fold. I didn't feel welcomed. Now, with the Real Nigga Church service coming up, the way I was envisioning it was I've been to so many events, business events, personal development events, spiritual events, and you typically wouldn't see the main speaker until they hit the stage. You wouldn't typically see the speaker connecting with the people in the audience beforehand. And it made me realize it would really set the tone of the event if I welcomed people, if I said hello to people, if I sat people down, if I introduced people to each other, if I cracked a joke or two, if I just brought the energy from the jump and helped them feel relaxed and helped them feel safe and helped them feel welcomed and really bring together this community feel. And then it hit me. In high school, I won class clown and I also won prom king. And it was very common for me in the classroom setting for whoever was in my proximity, there would be jokes. We would be laughing. We would be having a phenomenal time together. And I would sit at the eye of the hurricane and I would create this beautifully orchestrated, energetically connecting cohesion of energy. And I did that naturally. And I used to throw these dinner parties with a friend of mine for entrepreneurs and spiritual people. And at these dinner parties, we would have anywhere between 10 to 25 people show up at these dinner parties. And if you were sitting at my side of the table, we were having the most fucking fun. Again, sitting at the eye of the hurricane and like a conductor of energy conducting us and having a tremendous amount of fun and immersing ourselves into each other's energy where we no longer become individuals. We bond into one collective mind together and we lose all sense of time. And I would do this naturally. So, the message that I've been getting from the universe, which is improvise, it's my mind finally caught up to why to do that. And it's so interesting how wise our intuition is. And I titled this Real Nigga Secrets. I did that for marketing purposes. I wanted people to click and to be intrigued to come in and listen. In today's day and age with the internet, it's not easy to stand out. So you definitely have to communicate in a way that captures people's attention. And I put presence because what presence is really just awareness. And when we are aware of ourselves, when we are aware of our thoughts, when we are aware of our feelings, when we are aware of what that intuition is communicating to us, we are infinitely more powerful. And it requires us to calm down the mind. And instead of judging how we feel or judging others, judging the thoughts we have, and getting so caught up in what the yogis call the monkey mind, we're able to connect back to ourselves. And we get to really uncover what is our truth. We have so much pressure from society to be a certain way, to think a certain way, to feel a certain way. We have been conditioned and programmed from our parents, from our peers, from movies, from the internet, from friends, relatives, to act and be a certain way, and that there's a right way to go through life. And the right way, what we've been programmed to go through life, is by not listening to yourself. It's to follow the rules, it's to follow this way of thinking, this way of being. And what we have done is we have glorified security. We have this false sense of hope for security, and we feel that we can get to the point of being secure, but in the meantime we have to live in a tremendous amount of fear in order to achieve that. And security can mean certainty, it could mean financial abundance, or at least financial security, and then we can be able to relax and feel okay. And we place so much importance on the external. Hope that times we get exactly what we want externally, and we find that it didn't make us happy. It didn't make us feel good. And now we're in this spiral of confusion. What's actually important? What do I really want to do? And a lot of people find themselves in this trap from listening to other people on how to think and how to be and how to live. And now you have years of moving down that path. And to listen to your inner voice, it requires you to actually destroy some of what you've already built. And it feels like you're taking a few steps behind. And now there's a tremendous amount of fear attached to that. And we don't know how to navigate that unknown. So what do? We live in fear, and we decide not to move forward. All right. Let's see. Not YouTube. Okay. Excellent condition. Amazing. I just want to make sure we're still good with our live stream here. So when we take the time to calm our minds and to be present and to be aware, we can really tap into that infinite source of wisdom that exists in us, that's very counterintuitive, that goes against all the programming in which we received in our life. And it can be scary to listen to that because the mind has not yet caught up with the certainty that the deepest part of you already knows. And we get so used to ignoring that voice, and we find ways to be able to shut that voice down through alcohol, through mindless entertainment, through dopamine inducing activities such as sex and porn. And we do our best to just have that fucking mind shut up. It's so scary to listen to. And I've been reading a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's material lately, and it's so incredible. I've been reading his book, Becoming Supernatural. And in order for you to create the reality that you want in your life, it requires you to immerse yourself into the unknown. It requires you to let go of step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it requires you to just listen to the next step. And the mind goes, okay, but what after that? I don't know. I need to make it make sense. I'm scared. And I don't know why. My phone just did that. But the wise thing to do is to listen to that, because that is where the magic happens. I believe that I am being led, I am being guided, and it is up to me to tune into the rhythms of that universe, of those feelings. So another thing that I journaled on today is what am I going to do after the Real Nigga Church service on Sunday? Am I going to ask my audience for donations so we can host another event? Am I going to put together an offer that makes it exciting for people to buy so we can be able to put down money for another event? Should I create t-shirts to sell in relation to Real Nigga brand so I can be able to sustain myself and whatever it is? And right now, I'm living in California and my eyes are set for Austin, Texas. With each meditation I do, I visualize myself living in Austin, Texas, connecting with entrepreneurs, creating with artists, creating with creatives, going to Joe Rogan's Comedy Mothership, and creating in that environment, going to event after event, meeting new people, passing out books, and creating financial abundance in that city. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, for you to get what you want, first and foremost, you have to have a clear intention. You have to be very clear, what is it that you want? And for a lot of us, we don't know what we want. And that's okay. And a lot of us also haven't given ourselves the permission to go for what we want. And I think, in truth, I think we do know what we want. We just have so much fear around it. And we don't have belief that we can do it. So we try to logically try to come up with something. But I think what the right answer is whatever feels most energetically exciting for you. That is the right answer. For some people, I believe they are meant for financial abundance. For others, I do believe that living a quiet life, doing something as simple as fishing or knitting, can bring a life of total fulfillment. And surviving through providing different value and skills and connecting with others to be able to survive and pay the bills. The thing is, there are infinite amounts of realities. There's infinite. I won't say infinite. I'll say that there is an unquantifiable amount of realities. There are 8 billion people here on this earth. And even when you were experiencing the pandemic and you lived in your space with other people around, even though you were locked up together for a full year, each and every single one of you in that house or whatever space you occupied lived a completely different life, even though you were in the same proximity. You each had different realities. And that goes for everybody else on this planet. 8 billion different realities. Are there commonalities? Sure, but I do believe we all have our own unique reality. And that's just people. It's summertime right now, and there's so many ants around. There's probably billions of ants, each having its own reality. There are billions of insects, flies, butterflies, caterpillars, earwigs. There are billions of animals. There are millions, probably. One time I heard the statistic that there's more rats in New York than there are people. And then even just to take the rainforest and all of the different species that live in that area, each living a different reality, and to take it to the ocean where there are billions of creatures who live in the depths of the blue sea, each living a completely different reality. Meanwhile, society's trying to get us to see the same thing, and it's trying to force their beliefs upon us. And it's like, nah, man, we all have our different paths, and we have to listen to ourselves and follow what we were meant to do. And we do that by tuning into ourselves. So First things first is intention. What is it that you want? The second thing is having elevated emotions: gratitude, love, appreciation. Because everything in this world is made up of atoms. And if you look at the anatomy of an atom, it's 99.9999999% energy. Everything in this universe is made up of energy that is vibrating at a specific frequency. As human beings, we are beings that are vibrating at a specific frequency. And the reality we want already exists in the quantum field. Because there's no past, there's no future, there's only now. The reality that you want already exists because everything is possible. So in order for you to bring that reality to you, you need to vibrate at the frequency in which that reality is. And you do that by imagining yourself already having achieved it and done it. And your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So when you step into that with elevated emotion, you begin to draw that closer to you, that reality. And the final piece of this puzzle is the unknown, immersing yourself into the unknown. It's hard to create a new reality when you are immersed in the known. When you're doing the same things over and over and over again, where 10 days ago looks the same as yesterday. And you can predict what the next few days are going to look for you. That's being in the known. So in order for your reality to come to you, you must immerse yourself into the unknown. So when I'm doing my meditations and I am wondering what I should offer these people at the end of the Real Nigga Church service, my body's saying, you'll figure it out. You may not offer anything, whatever feels exciting. And I am trying my best to force myself to figure it out. But being in the unknown allows for opportunity to come towards me that I couldn't possibly predict. And this way of living is very counterintuitive. It requires leaning into faith, being present, being okay with not knowing, and through all of that, finding joy. It's not easy. So after I journaled, I ate, took a shower, went down to the park. It's very hot. It's 100 degrees out here today. And I just chilled in my car and I was listening to this book called The Way of the Champion. It's by the greatest lacrosse player of all time. And I think the first chapter talks about when he was in high school and his coach was talking, and they said, if you want to play Division I in college, here's what you got to do. You just got to shoot 100 shots a day. And that should take about 30 minutes a day. But here's the thing, you can't miss a day. Rain or shine, you can't miss. You have to do it every day and dedicate yourself to that. And I was like, all right, let's go live, baby. This wasn't easy to do. Had to figure it out. I guess I'm gonna figure it out more and more as I go. So here's to day one. And if you got some value from this, I would love to know what you got from this. I have the intention of getting better next time. And with each day that passes by, getting better and better and better. So thanks for joining in today. And I'll see you again tomorrow.